Oh my goodness. What are the chances of driving at 80 kilometers an hour on the roads that I always drive, and I like was driving along as you do, and these birds dropped dead out of the tree, like just dropped straight down. I was like, is that a bird? It's like, you know, and like by the time I was like, is that a bird? I've driven over the top of them, right? And I was like, no, that did not just happen. And so I like turned around. I had to stop and turn around and go back. I was like, nah, no, that didn't just happen. Sure enough, like these two little birds, like no joke. I got so much to say about this because there's way more to this story, and I just feel like this is so significant. I have to share this. And what's even more significant is that Transcendence Reality Society is like about all of this stuff. Timeline jumping, like we're transcending reality, for goodness sake. And this happens today. I've got some things to share with you. Oh my goodness. Let me share this and I will be present with this because this is next level. But of course, because Transcendence Reality Society has just landed, I'm like, here we go. We're in the vortex. Can you feel it? Oh my goodness, right? Okay, let me share this. Oh, I'm Hannah, by the way. If you don't know me, welcome. If this is the first time to my live stream, please comment below, say hi, let me know where you're from around the world. This is a pretty interesting topic, but a no-brainer for me when I was just like, did this really just happen? Like, oh my goodness. And straight after Easter, like, really? Yeah, this is really, really interesting. Okay, let me find this. Oops, hang on a sec. I'm going to be hearing myself talk. I don't know if it, hang on a sec. Let me just find where I can share this from. I need to share this to my personal page. Today's energy was so weird. This is the timeline skips and the transcending reality. Like this is exactly what it is, right? Oh my goodness, hang on. Let me concentrate and share this, otherwise I'm going to get sidetracked. This is really, I want to say blowing my mind, but at the same time, I'm like, of course, of course. By the way, if you want to get into Transcendence Reality Society, make sure you drop hearts below, and then that puts you on the waiting list. And so then enrollment is just about to open and we can send you all the details for enrollment. So please comment below with a heart if you would like to get on the waiting list and get all the details for Transcendence Reality Society once enrollment opens in like the next couple of days. So almost finished sharing this. Bear with me one more moment. Perfect. Done. Like, oh my goodness about this. Okay. So I'm just gonna bring up the comments here, wherever Facebook is in my zillion tabs that are open. It's not even there. Okay. You keep seeing shudders, like reality shifts, glitches, feeling like my eyes are playing up. Yeah, this stuff's real. Like this is really going on right now, and I really, really want to speak to this. Yeah. Hi, Matthew, Tammy. Yes, yes. Hi, Sarah. Okay. Yeah. So, like the past couple of days for me have been really intense. Like over Easter was almost like struggle street in a way. At the same time, I'm like downloading Transcendence Reality Society. And this is like the Transcendence Reality Society it's like all coming together. This is like reality awareness is like this, yeah, and it's like been this big restructure that's been going on. If you've been following me for a while, you've been seeing the shifts, the changes, right? So today I felt like, oh, things are moving forward again, right? And I was like, well, that's of course, right? Because I just restructured everything and it feels like everything is clear now to really, have this structure in reality. What's really, really interesting to me is today, like unexpectedly went into town with my daughter and her friend, and it was like, like going into town, right? And so I live about 20-25 minutes away from town. And so we drive in, as we always do, get right into town. I forgot my purse. Like that never happens. Like I don't do that stuff, right? And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So we had to like drive 25 minutes back and then 25 minutes back again. I'm like, really? Did all our stuff in town, had to hang around in town a bit longer than we usually do. And then driving back was then when the birds dropped out of the tree. Now, why that is significant is because if you know me in reality awareness, I always talk about this, this three. So, and a lot of people know, right? The trifecta, the Druid symbol, you know, the three, the triple goddess, the triune god. There's a sacred number, like all numbers are sacred, right? And they all have specific meanings, but the three is like the three-dimensional reality as well, yeah? Now, what's also really significant about that is in 2018, so it would have been August 2018, I, you know, downloaded the triple goddess, but in the triple goddess and the triune god, it's not about the three, it's about the four, because the three also relates to the third dimension, yeah? And we're like stuck in the third dimension and, you know, in this 3D world, and everyone's like, we need to move to 5D, or we are in 5D, etc., right? So the three is significant, and then the four is what I really work with, because it's like people jump to 5D, yeah, but when we're sort of jumping as well, we're skipping the fourth dimension, which is the bridge between the two. So working with the four is significant in whatever I work with, right? So anyway, that was important because I was like, it was on the fourth drive back along that road that I've driven so much before, and that four, like it was on the fourth time. Now, I have never in my life seen a bird drop out of the sky. That is stuff that I personally have heard seen on movies or whatever, right? Like, has anyone ever had a bird drop out of the sky in front of them before? Like, have you? Because I haven't, right? And you forgot your wallet as well, Matthew. Full on, right? And the birds were talking to you all day. And what's really interesting, because when I was driving back, like literally, okay, if you don't want to see something dead, turn away now. These are the two birds. So they're like little finches, or someone just actually shared that they were honey eaters, right? So little honey eaters. And, you know, like just driving along 80Ks, it's like 80K zone, right? But it's hills, right? I'm in the country. And it's hills and the sun's going down and it's beautiful, and, you know, and then I'm driving along and I just saw this thing like straight down out of the tree, because the trees are all over the road, right? Like, you know, you're driving along the road, and literally the birds, like I saw something white drop straight out, because obviously I'm driving 80 Ks an hour, literally in the middle of my road, like, you know. So when I drove, like they dropped, I went over, I was just like, that did not just happen. And I almost tried to slow, but it was too close. And I knew that they just dropped straight in, so I drove straight over them. I didn't run over them, right? And so I was like, that did not just happen. I had to pull over, turn around, went back, and I was like, wow, you have got to be kidding. We picked them up, put them on a tissue, obviously, that's what that is on there. And like when I held them, I'm like, they literally just died. Like they were still warm, like, you know, and I checked, you know, touching their eyeballs and stuff, because if an animal is dead, the way to check is to touch their eyeball. If they blink, well, they're still alive, right? Is what I was taught by my father. So, you know, and I obviously was like sitting there waiting for them to breathe or something, and I was just like, wow, this really just happened. What's kind of freaky in a way is that, well, okay, so this is the thing, could it be 5G? We were in a 2-bar reception area. I'm in the country, and there's only 2 bars of reception. So the first thing I asked my daughter, I was like, how many bars of reception do we have? Like, there was 2 bars. And the other thing is that there was all these other birds, like, I was obviously listening, like, I'm like, there's no other, you know, I could hear other birds flying around, the lorikeets and what have you. And I was like, this is interesting. I'm like, okay. What's also really interesting is that, number one, I just downloaded Transcendence, right? Transcending reality is literally like transcending reality, yeah? That to the side. The 4 thing, it was on the 4th way home, yeah? I've driven that road, like I forgot my purse, I never do that. I had to drive in and out 4 like times on that road. Like that was like 40 minutes round trip sort of thing. Like, I'm like, man, I don't have time for this. I was like, I don't have time to drive back and drive back. I'm like, seriously? I don't have time for this, right? The time thing is just so significant, right? So that to the side for a minute. The other thing that's like really kind of freaky in a way, but also really normal reality for me, is that I have been watching on Netflix, I've been watching a series called Dark. It drew my attention. I only watch things if they draw my attention. I went off Netflix a while ago because we heard everything that was going on. And then I was like, if I'm already in the Matrix, I want to suss it out from the inside out. I'm already here. Let's do this. Like, you know, and so for me, I watch Netflix when I feel called to watching certain things, right? And so I've been watching Dark. Now, I wouldn't really recommend it. It's slow, it's pretty boring, but the thing that's encapsulated with it is that it's about time travel. It's about 2019, I think it's 1986, 1953, and 1921. Now, and so like it's all about this couple of families in somewhere in, I don't know if it's Germany, I think. And, you know, around is it 53 or 80? They're talking about Chernobyl and, you know, and so there's scenes in that show about birds dropping out of the sky. And it's so interesting to me with all the tunnel stuff that we've learned last year and all before, right? All these tunnels. And in this show, it's like the tunnels are the portals of flicking the wormholes and the timelines, and I'm like, you know, like I'm always tuning into everything. I'm always sussing things out, right? Intuitively, and I'm also putting pieces of the puzzle together. Now, what's kind of interesting is that show is about the time travel, the birds, but also the radiation, the nuclear power plants, the timelines, the caves. So on this particular show, it was a cave that led into a door that was the trifecta door that is in like this. It was so interesting because it was almost explaining to me the three-dimensional time travel portals, and I was like, are you kidding me? You know, the thing is so slow. I'm like, man, Hannah, you should be doing some work, or you should be doing something else. Like, you're distracting, blah, 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 blah. You're avoiding. And I'm like, at the same time, you know, after today, I'm like, no, there's a reason why I watched all of that. Like, you know, it was just so interesting. And then the fact of driving home today on the 4th time, and oh my God, there's a number 4 on the desk in front of me. Like, what the hell? There's a desk over there where I do my card readings, and there's a sticker on it that says number 4. Like, what are the chances? Sorry, that distracted me because what the? So with the birds dropping out of the sky, it's interesting, right? Because on this show, the people who have actually traveled through the time travel that are not technically travelers have come back, you know, and technically their eyes are burnt. They still haven't really shown why, but their eardrums have burst. So interesting, right? And so when I was seeing these birds, I was literally like kind of not poking them, but with the tissue, I was like making sure if they're alive or not by touching their eye, but there seemed to be a little bit of blood, and I was like, what the hell? Like, how can they both fall out, you know? And I did post this in a group, and people were like, oh, maybe they ate berries or something, or like, I mean, maybe they did, but, well, they're a particular honey eater apparently, but it's just like, what are the chances, right? At the same time, I was not in a 5G area. Like, there was 2 bars of reception and it drops out. Like, I don't know, maybe it is, but I even was saying to my friend, I was like, I wasn't in a 5G area, but the concept of 5G, the concept of what it does, and the locations that they're placed in specific areas, and then, you know, like the caves, the hills, I was on hills, it was on sunset, is at a peak time. People have been feeling the energy's been really weird at the moment as well. So just going to get rid of this person on my page. Matthew says mum's birth was the 4th of the 4th, 53. That's so interesting. So I just, I felt like I wanted to share this because I'm like, this is so significant, because when the birds dropped, and it's interesting because my friend's like, well, what does it mean to you as a shaman? What does it mean to you? And I'm like, well, there's lots of meanings here given, everything I just shared. But also Grim Reaper has been around for me I've seen him twice in the past 3 days. Now, we also had one of our pet rats pass away this morning. So there has been death around, right? But when we look at Easter, now Easter has also been, Easter has been like the rebirth. And I did share this on a live stream not too long ago, that Easter's like the new year. When we look at our specific New Year's on the 31st of December, then there's like the Chinese New Year, and there's all these New Years, and then it gets to Easter, and it's kind of like there's the finish of all the New Years. So it's like this portal of time where there's all these sort of like timeline glitches. Now it's interesting as well, the 21, on the 21st of April, there is a significant energy shift, right? And I feel like there is this whole section around, like, it's like everything is grounding in. Now remember, back to December 21st was when the solstice was on, but there was a conjunction that happened with the planets and also set into motion this period of time. And we've been releasing from the dark mother grid since October, kind of September, and then October specifically as well. And when we look at those timelines, we've got September, so October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So we're coming up to the 9-month portal of a complete reset of the energy frequency. It's huge, right? And if we look at back in June, July, that takes us to that 9-month portal now. So this is really, really significant. About the timelines kind of, I want to say glitching, but it feels like everything is like solidifying. So on my live stream last night in the Reality Awareness Facebook support group, if you're not in there, jump in there, it's my free group. And we were talking about the energy being really weird at the moment and people feeling lost. But what's actually happening is like we've shifted from this web of consciousness to this web of consciousness, for example. We are no longer in the transition of like moving to this one. It's like we are here now, and why the energy feels weird and why people feel weird and why people are almost not functioning is because we're like learning to integrate this new energy. Well, it's not really new, but to us it is in a way. And so we're learning to integrate this energy into our physical body, into our reality of like, okay, so like I feel completely different. Everything is weird. Everything is changed, but nothing has changed at the same time. Now, remember back in December, everyone was also talking about the earth splitting in two, and there's like this two split going on. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's a consciousness split in a sense of, and then if you look physically on the planet right now, there's people wearing masks, there's people not wearing masks, there's people who believe this and there's people who believe that. Now there's always different belief systems, but when we look at a deep separation here, it's like, it's pretty obvious, right? Yeah, there's definitely been a split. So it's kind of really interesting when we look at that, shift and that split, that these kind of timelines right now, and it's almost like that's what happened today on the 4. Now I'm curious, people felt it, right? And I was even thinking and feeling into it, and I was like, so this, shift into this 4, has that shifted into a space of like, it's like, oh, it's done now. Like the reset in a way is done. However, I feel like there will be another kind of flick over around the 21st as well, but coming up to that, I feel like there'll be more. So Saturday, so today is Wednesday Australian time, so I feel like Saturday, Monday, next Thursday, so not tomorrow, like next week as well, I'm getting the message too. So yeah, that's so interesting. Sarah says, I'm sure there was something about this last year, birds dropping out with bloody eyes. Quite interesting. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting. It's really, really interesting. Okay. Yeah, Sarah says, this reality definitely feels not like home anymore. Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so interesting as well. You talk about, Matthew, with the internet too. I've been experiencing it more in the country, I would assume. I would at times, but a lot of people I know have also been like feeling that too. Like I know when it's really bad because my daughter comes in, she's like, what's coming up on internet? No, she doesn't talk like that, but other people in my community have also been noticing the internet not being like, yeah, it's changing. There's stuff going on behind the scenes. Sarah says, yes, a point of no return. Definitely. Here in Italy with all the craziness going on, it's really obvious. Yeah, it's like, it's interesting, right? And this is the point of no return. At the same time, really want to share too, like, I feel like there's a lot of leaders rising in a sense of just being in your normal community and people really looking up, because now's a time where the differentiation and the separation is really noticeable. And even though there's a lot of like kind of backlash at the same time, there's a lot of like reality shift going on. The longer this world stuff goes on, the more people are going to wake up, and the more of us that are quote unquote already awake and standing for that. I feel like we've been witch hunted a little bit, quite a lot in ways, but I feel like that point of no return is coming in a sense of like, there's no turning back now. It's kind of like, and people who, I was talking to a client about this today, it's like there's a lot of people that are following suit because they're scared about consequences if they do not comply, for example. But then there's people like that are awake, and the longer this goes on, those people that are on the fence are seeing people like that are awake, and it's giving them confidence and inspiring them, and it's like, well, look, so I'm not, right? So it's kind of really interesting what's happening, because yeah, it's really obvious, but I just feel like it's getting stronger in that point of no return, that shift. And I was like, this is so significant straight after Easter, because this is the setting of the new energy in a way. So it feels really strong. So if you've been feeling weird, if you've been feeling out of body, if like there is glitches, or you're seeing, you know, the reality shift in front of you, like you're not going crazy, even though some people would say you are, right? It's like, no, like this is the reality. Yeah. And in Transcendence Reality Society, it's like, how do we ground that? How do we work with that? How do we amplify that? How do we work on the interdimensional realms while staying connected in our everyday reality? Yeah. So transcending reality, Transcendence Reality Society is literally enabling us to harness these energies that are really infiltrating and coming through. And this energy is being able, like, this is being amplified. This energy is normal. Like, remember at the end of last year or even the year before, and we're all like feeling energy, and it's like, yeah, this is going to amplify. This is going to amplify. It's like, yeah, this is what we're in, right? So it's like, there's, let's just call it the glitches going on, and it feels weird, and we're like, can't function in a way at times, yeah, and it's so strong. But what's actually happening is like, it's becoming, I want to say it's becoming normal, yeah. It's like, this is how we're upgrading. This is the reality shift that's actually going on with it, yeah. So just stay true to oneself, yeah. And do you know what's so interesting, Matthew, about that? Is, you know, I've been feeling guilty over the weekend because I'm like, oh, well, I should be live streaming and I haven't posted and I haven't done this. And this is part of the shift for me personally. It's like, no, I only need to do it. I only want to do it when it's alive. Like, I need to trust this because I've got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm restructuring too, yeah? However, me staying true to myself is enabling me to like get back in flow, get on the right flow, get on the, you know, synchronistic flow. Like, that wouldn't have happened today. Those 4 significant drives that I did, and on the 4th one, the birds like dropping dead, like that is that stuff happens on the movies to me. Like, that's, I was like, check out these travel time portals. Like, this stuff is real. And it's interesting because the basis of Transcendence Reality Society that opens on the 21st, or we have our first training on the 21st. Yeah, enrollment opens in a couple of days. So comment a heart below if you would like to get on the waiting list for Transcendence Reality Society. There's a big basis in Transcendence Reality Society of what I've been working on the past few years in Rapid Ascension Awakening. And that's working through each of the chakras and going deep into the chakra consciousness. At the moment, we're in the ear chakra consciousness, which is about the interdimensional realms, yeah? And working like with these energies that are coming through, this is like enabling the reality to shift, but this is how we get to transcend reality. This is how we get to shift reality back into, I'll say back into 5D, to shift people out of the trauma, to shift people out of the pain, to shift people out of their head and get back in their heart. Yeah, like this is really what it's about. Sam says, yes, glitches, been feeling it for a while, but had visual anomalies as well. Yeah, and that's the thing, like this, like we're seeing it. And I've always said this, you can't stop consciousness awakening. You cannot stop consciousness awakening. You can't, like, and there's like the point of no return. It's kind of like, it's here now, right? Like, you can't stop consciousness awakening. Even like people who are awake at times, they're like, I just want to go back to sleep. And they can't, you know, like you can't stop consciousness awakening. And the more that you try and control it, the more that it expands. Like you can't control anything. You can't control consciousness. You can't control source. That's what they're trying to do. And you just can't. You can't do that. You can't. Super excited about TRS. I know, right? And how's the other thing? So with Transcendence Reality Society is shortened to TRS. Now, one of my students had said to me, she's like, TRS is actually a heavy metal detox system. You know, in Australia, I Googled it. And so I think it's coming out of Melbourne. So TRS is literally a system of products. I have no affiliation with it. Transcendence Reality Society has no affiliation with it, but Transcendence Reality Society is TRS shortened. And my student's like, it's a heavy metal detox like system. So I can only imagine what TRS, what Transcendence Reality Society is going to do for people. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? Oh my goodness. So yeah, so back to the vision stuff. So just trust your visions. Like, you know, if you're seeing stuff, like, again, you're not going crazy. Like, know that I want to say you are in complete control of your experience about it. Yeah, because our experience about it and what happens with it is, I do believe there is a connection to being in fear about it or being in complete trust. And as long as you stay connected to your heart and connected to what's true for you, you're going to stay connected to your complete path with it. Yeah. Yes, the detoxifier. Yeah, the detoxifier of the heaviness, the detoxifier of the trauma, the detoxifier of all of that stuff that we can transcend back to our heart. Pretty much what it's about. Yeah. You're so welcome. So if Transcendence Reality Society calls you, drop hearts below in the comments so you get on the waiting list, and enrollment opens in a couple of days, and I will be sending you all the details for that if you drop a heart in the comments below. And I'm just checking if there's anything else I wanted to say about that bird stuff, because that is just, that was insane. But at the same time, it's not. I'm like, for me, that was such a sign of it just shifted, because it was on the 4th drive. Like, what are the chances, you know, at 80 k's an hour? Like, come on, like someone else could have been in front of me and it could have happened to them, but no, it didn't. And like the sun was going down, it's like this beautiful orange over the big green hills, which if you know me, that's like Archangel Chamuel, the life purpose archangel. That's like his sign. I'm like, did the birds have to die though? Anyway, all right. Hi Christina, I saw you join live as well. So if this resonates with you and you think that it can help somebody, please share it with them. Tag their name in the comments or send it in a private message to them. Yes, for TRS, there are no coincidences. I know, right? I don't, yeah, fully, it's alignment. This is what I was posting about the other day. This is alignment. And this is what, I think it was Oh yeah, because Matthew, I think you said staying true to oneself, and this is the alignment piece. Yeah, this is pulling into everything is alignment, and yeah, this is exciting. I am excited, but the post didn't have to die. But it's so interesting because of Grim Reaper showing up as well. And if you're just new to following me, I have this kind of relationship with Grim Reaper back in January 2019. It was. So December 2018. So if you are new to watching me here, there was a period of time between December 2018 and January 2019, like that kind of portal of time. And I think a little while ago, like I was saying, I'm like, this energy feels similar to back then. So December 2018, so that portal, 2018, January 2019, even back in November 2018 was super heavy energy for people, super dark, some really bad stuff happened, like worst time of people's lives, lots of breakups, lots of that. At the same time, there was this crystalline, pristine, like Lemurian Atlantis energy, like, you know, I call it the Atlantis energy, Atlantis rising. And what I feel from that portal of time is that it wasn't like, it was the truth surfacing from what happened in Atlantis. It was the truth surfacing from what happened, you know, why Atlantis sank, all the stuff that happened, and the consciousness that got sunk with it is what's rising, and is why everything is happening, and is why like this whole control of everything is happening in exponential stuff in the world in the past 18 months now, that they're trying to keep a clamper on that truth, but it's not possible, right? So this Atlantis rising energy is like, you know, tail ending, I should say. So what are we now? It's 2018. So we're coming in 2 years. So it'll be interesting. At the end of this year will be 3 years. And you know how I always talk about, so I always look at these timelines and the birthing portals of reality, right? So at this coming in 2021 in November will be 3 years since that started to pop. So it'll be interesting to see what happens consciousness wise, worldwide, physical wise, with like that 3-year birthing portal. So there's like the 18-month birthing cycle, and then there's that 3-month, so the 3-year birthing cycle. So super, super significant. ET energy, yeah, very, say out of this world. It's not, it's like the interdimensional worlds that are all coexisting right now. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting because I can feel the energy of Transcendence, reality, society. Like this is next level. And this is like what it's about, is the transcending reality of the interdimensional realms, and working with that energy to shift the consciousness, for more people to awaken, to shift your life. Like, yeah, you can't describe it. It's like they're trying to capture source energy. You know, when we heard about all the stuff going on in the world that a lot of people have known for years, I've known for years, it hit hard last year, didn't it, 2020? And it's like, when I was like, but why? You know, I always ask when I hear stuff, I'm like, but why? 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 But why? You know, and I'm like listening for my intuition to answer in a way, right? And so it was like, but why? Why are they doing that? Why the adrenochrome? Why all that stuff? And it's like, oh, like what I got shown is they're trying to capture source, because they choose not to connect to their own source. So they're trying to capture source, and you can't do that. So you can't stop consciousness awakening. You can't stop the truth from surfacing. Everybody knows that. The truth always surfaces eventually, right? Do you agree? The truth always surfaces eventually. Eventually, yeah? Yeah, exactly, Sam. Huge things happening. People who are closed off are starting to see. Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, and I've been saying this too. I'm like, if you're a healer, if you're an empath, if you're sensitive, if you know you're awake and you know that you're here to help people awaken and to guide humanity, now is the time to get sorted on that. Now is the time to increase your skills, to be around people who, you know, are in the same vicinity, who are working on this, to just support the, you know, awakening of humanity, which is, you know, obviously what we do here at Reality Awareness, because you guys are needed. Like, you wouldn't be here watching this if you weren't called in that sort of line of work, right? And you might already be doing this sort of work, or you might already be like thinking about it or know about it, or you're like, how can I help the world? Or you might be angry at the world because they're not waking up, even though we see people waking up. It's like you're the leader to help guide these people who are just waking up, yeah? And over the next 20 years, it's going to increase rapidly. Over the next 10 years, it's going to increase rapidly. Like by 2030, do you know how interesting this is? Like Elizabeth Peru, the astrologer, she posted something the other day, and she's like, this next 10 years until 2030, we'll see rapid changes in the world that our world hasn't seen for 10,000 years. I'm like, for serious? And I'm like, yeah, for serious. Like, it makes sense, right? Because of this timeline shift, of the light shifting, the age of Aquarius, whatever you want to call it, it's like, this is, of course it's going to shift. And then from 2020 to 2030, spirituality is going to go mainstream. Now, I've said that for years. I'm like, so are you stepping up to do the work yet? Are you literally like on that path? Are you surrounded by people who are doing that? So Transcendence Reality Society is the space to learn these skills and to be able to do that and put yourself out into the world, or not. Yeah. Whatever you're being guided to do, but it's like, now's the time, because astrologically, energetically, like, you know, there's a lot of hurt, pain, anger, trauma, death going on the planet right now, purposely in a way. But when you look at shaking people up, people needed to be shaken up to wake up. So it's really technically a good thing underneath when we can hold that vision, and when you are on purpose, doing your purpose, you'll find that your anger dissipates because you're on path. Yeah? I feel like there's people in the world that are angry at people in the world not waking up, etc., because they're not on purpose. Yeah? They're not on purpose. Sam says, like-minded people are being drawn together from all around the world. Yes, exactly, right? And this is where I'm like, can't stop consciousness awakening. You can't. You can't. Yes, awesome, Matthew. Perfect. Josephine says, I think they're trying to catch source with that endo, can't spell it, as well as kill it by infusing fear, confusion. Oh, the endochrome. Adrenochrome, yes. Trying to catch source. Yeah, exactly. As well as kill it by infusing it with fear and confusion. Yeah, and this is really interesting, right? With the trauma and everything that's being released out of the system. You know how in the past couple of months I've been saying it's like the energies right now are like sieving out the trauma from our system. Yeah, like, you know, like a sieve that you sieve your rice and wash your vegetables in and stuff. It's like a sieving through our system, and I feel like that's kind of finished, kind of the end of March or middle of March, that finished, that major part of that clearing. And now I feel like this is why it feels weird for people, and we're glitching out and seeing reality shift in front of our eyes, because now it's like embodying that consciousness, embodying that, embodying this new reality. Yeah, like that's kind of where we're at now. And it's like, okay, like how do we do reality with all of this? Yeah, like everything is shifting rapidly. So yes, this is awesome. All right, so lovely to have you here. And like I say, if this is your first time to my live stream, please comment below, let me know where you're from around the world. It's so lovely to have you here, and I look forward to connecting more with you. Some big changes coming to Reality Awareness you might have already seen. So in my Reality Awareness support group, going to be holding monthly psychic development classes, which I'm so excited about, and my best friend Jade is going to be holding classes in there as well, all free once a month. Well, technically be twice a month. Actually, there's 3 times a month, because we've got the 12 divine steps to awakening your life purpose. So that is in my free support group on Facebook. If you're not in there, please send me a message, or you can type it in the Facebook search bar, Reality Awareness Support Group, and I can add you in there for free. So we've got some amazing stuff coming up this month, and the Transcendence Reality Society waiting list is on, and enrollment is opening in a couple of days. So comment a heart below in the comments if you would like to get on the waiting list, and I can send you all the details for open enrollment when it is open. So Jade is amazing. Yeah, she's so amazing with all her magicness with the litho crystals and her mediumship skills. She's got those too. We've done the same training many years ago. So it's so lovely that she's joined the team and will be supporting and sharing her magic in the group with all her nutrition background and everything that she's been doing, the advanced training of medical medium the past few years as well. So super love that Jade has joined the Reality Awareness team. Love it. So awesome to have her awesomeness here as well. So if you didn't catch my live stream in the Reality Awareness support group yesterday, you can go and check that out, especially the last 10 minutes. I shared all the amazing updates that are coming. So check that out. Send me a message if you've got any questions. And of course, I shall see you soon. Keeping it real as always. Mwah! Have a beautiful night, day, morning, wherever you are in the world.